Game over.
I'm Johnny. Hey, everybody. We're watching a pre-recorded segment with the people from Hemponix. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. I don't want to speak for you. Go ahead and say who you are. Let the good people know.
Good afternoon, Johnny. I am Lauren, and this is Keith.
All right, Lauren and Keith from Hemponix. Now, I'm a fan of your products. I've been using them quite frequently. I even have mine over here with me as we talk about this later. But you guys are now sponsoring the show, and we're working with you. And I'm doing that because I love your products. For anyone who isn't aware, how long is Hemponix a THC based company out of it's out of Minnesota, right? This is a local program from Minnesota, like a local company.
Correct. Yeah, we are based out of New London, Minnesota, central Minnesota. So if you looked at Minnesota and put your finger in the middle, we're right there.
Yeah.
We have a farm here that started off as a lettuce farm. We did hydroponic lettuce and arugula, you name it, anything that was an herb to lettuce. They grew. And then we transitioned into hemp as the legalization of hemp-derived products came into Minnesota. So, yeah, they've been doing hemp since, I want to say 2020.
Since 2020.
Yeah, and that's for industrial hemp. It is legal federally. So you can grow it for other things. People use it for concrete mixtures. They use it for clothing, for essentially.
Soap is one that I think a lot of people don't realize.
Yes, soap is one. Livestock. What else do people use hemp for the industrial hemp?
Plastics, lots of different things. Of course, some of it has been classified as pharmaceuticals, like with Epidiolex for treatment-resistant epilepsy. Basically, in every sector of industry, from biopharma on into engineering and construction and machinery, hemp has a place, and it all depends on how you grow it and what type you grow as to which direction you go.
Great. Well, so now for anyone who's not aware, and I'm pretty sure anyone who watches my show and figured out from the name, Hemponix, of course, is with CBGs, CBDs, and some of the now legal like Delta 8 and Delta 9 THCs. There's one that I learned about when I started using your guys' products, HHC. And I tell people about this stuff, and a lot of people get like confused. They're like, "Oh, what's with all the letters?" So, for anyone who's not really aware, what is HHC, and just exactly how new is that compared to say like THC and say CBD? Because for people like me, kind of a boomer almost, not really, but some ways mentally, I've just like THC, CBD. There are two, and so yeah, like the HHC was a new one for me to discover, and I've loved what I've learned about it, but I'd like you to explain it just for everybody. Explain HHC, how that came about.
So, well, I first wanted to just say that, with cannabis, the plant cannabis, there's over 144 different cannabinoids that we know about currently, and maybe 8 that people are using.
By and large, yes.
So HHC is going to be a derivative of CBD. It's extracted similar to D8 and D9. So Keith can kind of tell you what the process is when people are extracting or converting it into a cannabinoid for use that will actually get you stoned.
Well, most of these cannabinoids, like the hemp-derived psychoactive cannabinoids like Delta 8, Delta 9 from hemp, Delta 10, HHC, THCO, THCP, and there's a whole slew of them. They're derived ultimately from the CBD cannabidiol extract itself. And while these are present in, like HHC isn't necessarily present in the plant in its natural state, Delta 8 is to a very small degree, and some of the others. So what you do in the lab setting then is you manipulate the CBD molecule. And then depending on how you do that, you can take it and just push it into other cannabinoids. And it's just a couple small steps from CBD into CBN or Delta 9 or HHC. And with HHC, you're hydrogenating it. You're adding hydrogens to the molecule, and it gives it a psychoactive effect. And that's really all it is. A lot of people want to, they're inclined to say, well, it's less than or more than the natural, cannabinoid. And that's all, the jury's all kind of out on those kinds of things right now. But they all have slightly different psychoactive effects. And some people prefer HHC over Delta 9 or over, Delta 8 and what have you.
So it comes down to like how you metabolize it.
Right. And what catalyst you use in the lab setting to create the thing. And then how the individual body responds to it, because we're all individual biosystems. Your body processes cannabinoids different than mine. Some people, if they use like Delta 9, it makes them very anxious. But if they use HHC or Delta 8, they're uplifted, they're nice and calm, and they're having a happy day. So everyone responds differently. We process everything differently. So for instance, I like to tell the story. My brother, he takes one antihistamine, it'll knock him out. I can take 2 of them, keep right on working. So we're all individuals, and it's a beautiful thing that we all have these choices.
I have a coworker who I refer to as tissue paper tolerance. He's 6'4". He's a big dude. He's in good shape. He's someone you think like, oh, he can put a few beers down or whatever. No. It's like a few beers gets him messed up. We've given him edibles and stuff before. It's just we'll give him like a fraction of one, and he's losing his mind. We're like, all right, you can't handle this. And he's like, this stuff's so strong. We're like, dude, I had 4 of them. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And that's funny that people tend to look at people like, oh, that person's a lightweight. And I'm like, no, they are very cost effective. I wish.
Oh, yeah.
And with some things, I'm that way myself. But yeah, the more expensive the thing it is, I want to use less of it to have the same effect as the next guy, ideally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend like that. She naturally has a just kind of a mindset where she's one time she even told me, she's like, I could never be a hummingbird because I'd have to get into wars with other hummingbirds over flowers. It'd be a literal war of the roses. And I was looking at her, I was like, you know how much I've spent on this to get to that? You're just there.
Yeah.
The financials alone. But I use all of your products medicinally. I have spoiler alert, people. I have a condition. So I have multiple sclerosis. So I have muscle spasticity, aches and pains, and I found it's very, very good for the muscle spasticity. And I'm looking to try the roll-on thing for the aches and pains. But what are the main things that you think people should be using? The HHC, the CBD, whatever works for them. What should they mainly be looking for your products to resolve if they have a like? Is there a general thing like you'd say like, hey, if you're dealing with this issue, you want this product, or is there any sort of like difference?
Very important, very, very important question.
Yeah, I think that, every symptom has a different answer. So if you're somebody that's suffering from insomnia, we usually say that if a person's walking through our door, they're either suffering from 4 different things. They're either not sleeping, they're tired, fatigue, so insomnia, fatigue, pain. A lot of people are in pain, and then depression and anxiety. That's a big one. So, people are going to come in because they want to get stoned, and that's fine. They're going to find HHC or D8 CBG is my favorite, gummy that we use when I'm looking for an alternative to, marijuana THC, which is not legal here in Minnesota. And then we also have just the regular D9s, which the D9s are great. Like people are seeing them all over. They're popping up in bars, at breweries. But on the more medicinal side and on the things that, the topicals and what you're using and what I'm sending more to you, the roller is going to help externally. Our unscented deep relief lotion externally, you're working on the body from the outside in, whereas when you're taking a tincture, you're taking a gummy, you're working from the inside out. So if you can pinpoint what the main symptom is that you want to go after, we do have resources where we can guide you to something we think might help alleviate that symptom. But technically, by law, we can't tell you that it cures anything or it can do these things.
Right.
So,
right.
So again, so if you'd say somebody that is suffering from restless leg or pain, like if you're not sleeping and you're waking up from monkey brain, CBN is going to be your thing. I mean, it's just monkey brain. You want to, go into your deep sleep. We call that CB9 nice, right? CBN would be CB9 nice. It's nature's NyQuil. Unlike melatonin, which is, again, synthetic, you're introducing a synthetic hormone in your body that you're already naturally making. So it can mess with people if you're somebody that takes melatonin every night. Now you're bringing melatonin in, but you're naturally supposed to be making it. So then you kind of become not addicted to it, but dependent on it for sleep. So if we can transfer you over to something like CBN, it's going to put you to sleep and keep you asleep. Now, you can expand on this once I say another thing that keeps people up is pain, right? So when you combine CBN with CBD, it's going to help with the inflammation and pain. And that's where, Keith comes in, our chemist, and he can tell you what receptors and how it works. And if you change it just by a little bit, it won't work the same. So I'll let you go with kind of like how you pair up the symptom specifics to cannabinoids.
Well, with multiple sclerosis, and here we're just talking facts. This doesn't constitute any health advice or treatment.
Right. It's not medical advice.
Right. Consult your doctor.
Yes, always. We've got to put that FDA caveat in there. Okay, with your particular situation, demyelinization is the root cause of your particular issue, right?
I will pause you just 1 second there. That's exactly right. Most people don't know that, so I already am much more inclined to believe what you're about to say. Because, number one question is, what is multiple sclerosis? What do you mean your nerves don't work? You look fine. And it's just like, so that explanation of it right there already means you're very clued into this, because, most people don't know that term alone, demyelinization. I perked up a bit. I was like, ooh, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah,
sorry.
Anatomy, biomedical engineering tech was my background, and anatomy and physiology necessarily comes with that. Now, I've also had a brain injury pretty serious in the past, so I'm familiar with a lot of the happenings and the workings in the central nervous system. But just for your viewers out there, a neuron, here's one end of the neuron, then you've got these dendrites on the other end. They're little fingers that come off. The signal comes into this end and it goes out to other neurons. And that's how we network in our body. In between that is a part called the axon in this neuron. And that's like a little highway channel. And that's where the center of that cell is as well. But what happens is there's a sheath on that goes, that's the myelin sheath or myelin sheath. And with multiple sclerosis, it just breaks down. Of course, I'm not telling you this anything.
Oh, yeah, no.
It breaks down and causes all kinds of issues. Signals aren't getting through the way they should. It causes pain, muscle spasticity, and a lot of things. So what I looked at was the receptors that are involved with multiple sclerosis. A lot of those same receptors, these protein receptors, are involved in Parkinson's and Huntington's. And for instance, with Parkinson's, I'm looking at G protein 55 primarily in the basal ganglia and the striatum area of the brain. And so it turns out addressing those with a combination of CBN and a combination of CBD, getting to those with that combination worked out really well for Parkinson's patients. And here's what's going on. And I would recommend a product, if I were to recommend one, I would have you try Calm Buddy.
Yep.
Because there are two.
Yeah, that's been recommended. That's one I'm looking forward to try.
Okay, there's actually 3 or 4 things going on with that blend, specifically tailored for your situation. So CBN is a neuroprotectant, and it helps protect that myelin sheath. It's going to slow that demyelinization process down, and theoretically, in your situation, I have to stop short of saying absolutes here, but research indicates. So we'll go with that. And then, so that provides some neuroprotective abilities. Also with that, I'm addressing those same G protein receptors in the basal ganglion striatum, which should slow down extremity activities a little bit and help get that back into balance. Now with the CB2 receptors, that's what the CBD component is for. What I'm doing is I'm addressing the inflammation issues, the pain issues. I'm hitting receptors like TRPV1 to lessen and help deaden pain. And so that's why I would say, as a product recommendation, not as health advice in your situation, I would try this product and see what happens. But it's formulated with all my work is formulated with receptor technology, or the receptor capabilities in mind in our anatomy physiology, right? A lot of people will just throw a cannabinoid at one thing. They'll just say, oh, you need CBD. Well, that's not the cure-all.
Game over.